Sukuligar, everyone. My name is Nazo Servant Arc. Some know me on Twitter, some know me on Discord. A couple on YouTube. Most just call me Nazo. My real name is Matt. And I've been a fan of the expanded universe, I'd say ever since I was maybe like 8 or 9 years old, in the early 2000s. I believe my first introduction into the expanded universe was Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. Phenomenal game. I loved it as a kid. Though I used the cheat codes a lot, so there's that. I also really loved the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars. Most of what I knew about the EU back in the day was through lore books that I had growing up. I didn't really have a lot of the books or comics. Have a lot more now, obviously. Actually, now that I think about it, was probably more like 10 or 11 when I started going through it. But basically, I grew up with this portion of the Star Wars universe. Learning about the stories and the lore and the characters when I could. As for, I know one of the questions was, do I have any favorite characters? And my God, there's just so many I can't list. I'll try to list as many as I can, but I can't promise anything. So obviously, one of them is obviously Kyle Katarn. I absolutely love Kyle Katarn, the Chad, the space Chuck Norris of Jedi. I also love characters like Thrawn, Mara Jade, the obvious ones, Darth Bane, who's kind of like the anti-Luke Skywalker sort of thing. And then, of course, I love a lot of the lesser-known characters like Vilmar Grok from the Republic comics, or Bomo Greenbark from Dark Times, and then even as well as like books, like in I think, what am I thinking of here? Like in the Jedi Apprentice series, it's just I don't know what they did with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan's characters. I don't know. It there's one good character I can think of is Dee Otto and his daughter Astri. Those were some pretty good characters. There's also characters from the X-Wing books as well, like Tycho Selchu, Corran Horn, Wes Jansen, Derek Hobby Clivian, Vert Sabinring, Ton Fanon, Garrick Loran, aka Face. There's more. I'm not Callista, Callista Masana or Callista Ming, depending. Gilad Pelion. There's just so many great characters in the expanded universe. And again, I'm just trying to think of some. Theron Shan, Jedi Master Nostaral. I'm going into the Old Republic now. Kind of really like some of the characters from MedStar Duology and Yoda Dark Rendezvous. Again, names are escaping me right now, so I'm kind of nervous with this whole thing. Sorry. One I do have an answer for. As far as my favorite expanded universe book so far, because I'm not fully through the entire expanded universe, but so far my favorite book is Kenobi. It's just such a simple yet wonderfully told story. John Jackson Miller does a fantastic job with it. Favorite comics, I've got to go with Legacy, because I have a long-standing love of that series. I grew up with it. It was one of my first couple of Star Wars comic series that I ever really got into, and even today, it's still my favorite. Video games, I'm either going to go with Jedi Outcast or Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords. Probably The Sith Lords, considering how it has a much stronger story. Probably already covered this bit. what the expanded universe has meant for me. It has meant friendship, community, enriching stories. Part of the reason I love it was the effort to detail with continuity. A lot of people don't talk about it or don't know about it, but the EU used to have, or at least old Lucasfilm used to have what was called the hierarchy of canon, and it was a good way to clean up mistakes and continuity errors. And even though not every continuity error in the EU was cleaned up, plenty of them were, because of the hierarchy of canon and because they placed such a tight thing on continuity. I mean, it got a little loose with Dave Filoni's Clone Wars, but I can let that go because I do enjoy that show. It's not one of my favorites. Actually, as far as Disney content go, I prefer Rebels. But anyway, yeah, just the expanded universe in general. These great stories, great characters, and I've been surprised at how much more of it I've loved than I haven't. There's a few stories that I haven't been the biggest fan of. I'm not going to talk about them right now, but just these, even continuing to experience these great, incredible stories, this universe, and I even got my dad a little into it. He's interested. We're doing audiobooks together, and it's such a fun, enriching experience that we have, and it's just I love it. Yeah, I would love for the expanded universe to continue under the Disney banner. It's now called Legends, but um, I would love for them to continue that timeline because I feel like it's a waste. There are so many unfinished stories and so many more stories that they could tell, but all they really do is reprint the old stories. The only the newest content I've thought of that they did was Marvel issue 108, and it is a fantastic issue, and it makes me wonder why they aren't tapping into this gold mine more. Uh, Again, I've listed my reasons on Twitter why they should continue it. Uh, Reason number one, obviously, is uh, most of the lore, most of the stuff is written already. So you have an entire branch of universe in general, just to jump off from and do as you please, and like, I mean, within reason, obviously. You don't want to go so overboard that it makes no sense to the rest of the canon. And to people who are worried whether or not people would be confused as to whether or not it would be, part of the current canon or Legends, they put the Golden Legends banner on every reprinted book and comic now. So it's not like it would be that confusing if you released a new one. It actually wouldn't be confusing at all now that I really think about it. And for those who don't want it continued, I can understand where you're coming from, considering that Disney was the one that decanonized it. And the best part about them, if they continue the story, if they ever decide to, at least, is that you don't have to acknowledge any new stories, since it's not officially canon to Lucasfilm anymore. It's really more just a canon to fans of it now, myself included. But since it's not officially canon to Lucasfilm, the best part about them continuing is that if you feel that it doesn't fit the rest of the expanded universe, I've got good news for you. You don't have to pick it up. You don't have to read it. You don't have to include it. You can still have the stories and the universe that you already have now. It's not like it's going anywhere. And I know that probably sound like what some would classify as a Disney shill in that regard. But what I mean is like, if you don't want to continue with any of the new content that they create, you don't have to. But for those of us who would love to see more of this universe, love to see our characters, our beloved characters that we already saw, and would love to see them in new adventures, because as much as I love elements of the new canon, the fact that they only have like one tier system, which is their canon, it makes it ripe for contradictions, and I can't follow that. I'm glad that I'm honestly glad that it has fans, that there are fans that I care about. I'm glad that they love it, that they can experience Star Wars for the first time with it. But it's not for me. And I don't mean that in the rudest sense or anything. I'm glad, again, I'm glad they love it. I'm glad they enjoy it. And I even enjoy some of the stories. I love Rebels, I love Andor. But I would really love to see the expanded universe, the old EU legends, to be continued. Because it would mean so much. And I'm not the only one, obviously, because there are other fans who are on here that want to see it, that want to see it happen. And it would just be fantastic, you know. It would just be amazing, and it would reach a new generation who want to get into the expanded universe but don't know where to start. And old fans who have loved this series, this franchise, this portion of the universe for as long, we can help with that. That's the one thing I don't understand, because some groups of fans in that regard, they they treat people who are brand new to the expanded universe like pariahs because um they like some of the Disney content. And I'm thinking to myself, why? They enjoy a different Star Wars, and if they're curious about learning the expanded universe, you shouldn't belittle them in that regard. Just because they aren't super knowledgeable. Sorry about that. But like, I'm not saying every EU fan is like this. I've met some wonderful, great people that would love, if you're interested in getting to the EU, they'd love to help you, myself included. I'd love to help you. If you were that curious, that interested, getting into it, look me up. I'm more than happy to help. Uh, but anyway, yeah, that's all I got for y'all. I got to get back to some of my new stuff. I'm still going through the unabridged of Wraith Squadron, and I'm currently reading the manga adaptation of the current canon story, Lost Stars. But I'm guessing some of y'all don't care about that. Don't worry about that. Anywho, thank you again for listening, and I hope that Lucasfilm hears us and that they bring back the old EU Legends, the expanded universe, as a separate, enjoyable timeline for longtime fans and for new fans who want maybe you're new to the franchise and want a slightly different perspective. Stories that maybe speak more to you than they would someone else. Anyway, I hope this helps, and I hope it helps all of us continue to be great Star Wars fans who enjoy our own content and our own stories, and help continues to reach others. All right. Thank you.